Welcome to Full Frontal Fatherhood. My name's Julian Redwood. Every man can easily be a fantastic father, but there's one really important key to being that dad that so many dads don't know about, and thus so many families struggle unnecessarily in an imbalanced system where nobody's really getting their needs met. Fortunately, this key is quite clear and something that you can easily do day in and day out. As I discussed in our main video, Why Families Struggle, all too often the modern family falls apart in the face of the imbalance that is epidemic in our society. The lack of clarity about what our role should be as fathers, combined with our insecurity about being good enough, often leads to us being second-class parents, and often leads to the moms being overburdened with too much of the responsibility. Under the strain of these two weights, our families often suffer way too much, and our children aren't getting the happy, joyful, thriving, balanced family they need. The problem is really seen in the moment of birth. Both parents are really scared about their ability to provide for their first baby. But out comes your child, and the moms quickly find their way as they realize their ability to provide. If they have any problems, there's lots of people there to support them to get empowered. Meanwhile, we dads stand back in our insecurity and lack of clarity of our role. Not knowing what to do, we support the relationship between the mom and the baby, but we're not really supporting our relationship with the baby. And there's nobody there to support us to get empowered in that situation. This quickly leads to that situation where the mom is having to do too much. And anytime the baby has a problem, we easily hand it off to her because she seems to know so much more, and there's so many people that are supporting her to be the one that's providing in that moment. So how do we not go down that road where we end up being a second-class parent? How do we have a system where we are equally empowered with our partners to provide for this baby and thus not overtaxing our partners? So the key to preventing all of this from happening is to step into your insecurity. Step into the unknown, the lack of clarity of what your role is, and inhabit that with thoughtfulness. How can you engage that moment? Not by standing back, but by moving forward. How can you hold your child? I remember those moments, first moments with my baby. I didn't know how to hold her head. I was really scared I was going to do it wrong. But I stood there in that insecurity and held her head and realized I could do it. And it actually wasn't that hard, but I had to get through a layer of insecurity. And we have to do that as dads over and over and over again. There are so many moments where we have to choose to love and engage our child. The moms are almost forced to engage and love their child. They have to provide for it. They're nursing the vast majority of the time, and that creates a huge amount of intimacy and empowerment. For us, we have to take those moments repeatedly, and so often to take those moments requires us facing the unknown in ourselves. Can we do this? Our child is saying we're a bad dad, or the child is pooped everywhere, or the child's crying uncontrollably. We think, oh my God, what can I do? I'll just give it to the mom. But every time we hand it over to the mom, we disempower ourselves and we over-empower her. Every chance that you have when there's a moment of challenge, see if you can stay with it. See if you can find your own mastery of that moment. You'll have many moments for it to happen over and over again. Maybe you mess up the first diaper change. There'll be plenty more to come. Maybe you mess up the first time you have to talk to your kid about something really difficult, sex or drugs. There'll be another chance. Just keep stepping back in there. To be a parent is to fail, is to be told you're horrible over and over again by your kid. But for us to be able to, in the face of those intense feelings, nonetheless inhabit it with empowerment, creates a family where everyone's getting their needs. The mom is no longer being overburdened by the amount of responsibility that's in her lap. She gets to see you thriving as an empowered man, which increases her attraction for you. You get to feel like a good dad, which feeds our hearts like nothing else in the world. And the whole system thrives. The kid sees you and your partner loving each other, which gives them the power that they need to live their lives. If they see that kind of happiness, they can thrive. Unfortunately, so often the imbalance leads to something much worse, where the child is being used by the mom for their emotional needs. If you can step in, you create the whole system. That's how you can really change everything. It all comes down to if we are empowered, the family stays balanced and everyone thrives. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Full Frontal Fatherhood. I'd love to hear your thoughts about these, so please join the conversation below, but let's keep it friendly because this is hard stuff and we are all doing our best. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Full Frontal Fatherhood. Take care.